my name's Rich. Welcome back to Me, My Bike and I. In this video I'm going to compression test the engine and see what sort of values we've got in each of the four cylinders. Now in the last video I took the carburetors off and put them aside, and a very sharp-eyed viewer, Michael Smallbones, noticed that I dropped one of the carb linkage springs down into the engine, or on top of the block anyway, between the V. So I had a good poke around and I found three, plus the broken bit of lug where the coils bolt on. So not that I'm going to be able to fix that, but thank you very much, Michael, for that spot. I would have struggled enormously to rebuild those carbs and put them back together properly, unawares that I'd lost some of the bits, and I probably would have completely lost those springs when I took the engine out and rebuilt it. So very much appreciate a sharp-eyed viewer leaving a comment there to let me know, and probably saved the day. I shall bag them up, won't lose them again. Fitted a new battery because the old one I left the ignition on and I must have fried it because it just went down to 1 volt and I could not recover it. And I've actually ordered a new positive lead as well, which I'll fit when that arrives, because that's completely the wrong one. So I've just checked the service specs for compression. It's telling me 147 to 213 psi, and if I've got 180 plus on each of them, that would be great. They really need to be within just a few percent of each other, a few psi of each other really. Hopefully that's what we've got, so let's go and check them. Spinning over nicely. Right, I'm just going to take the number 1 HT lead off. Oh, bloody hell, stiff. And see if we've got the right plug socket. No, I think we need the bigger one. Just searching for the right size plug spanner, but look, that's the number 1 plug. Loose as anything. Now, unfortunately, with the equipment I've got, I can't get down to look in the bore. I can't get the camera right over it and the light at the same time, but I can get my eyeball in there and I can see that's really coked up just down in the plug hole. So let's see if we can get that screwed in. It's difficult when you've got a thread on the end of a tube. It seems to be going okay. Difficult really, trying to test compression, but you can't get in there with a spanner to tighten it up, which you'd think you'd really need to do. Let's get the actual compression tester. So what was it, 147 to 213. That's pretty bang on 160. It's a little bit carbon foul, but nothing too bad. Plug gap was 0.8mm, right where it should be, so that was okay. Stay on the same block and get number 3 out. That one was tight. See if that'll just lift out now. Not quite there yet. Okay. That plug smelt very petrol-y, which probably just due to the carburetors being badly set up. Let's just check the plug gap. Yeah, it's pretty much bang on 0.8, should be between 0.8 and 0.9, so that's okay. So we're now testing number 3 cylinder. So this one then is 165 to 170 psi, so it's within 5% of the number 1 cylinder, which is fine. So I'm going to record that as 168 psi and 0.8 millimeter gap. It's not too bad. The engine is cold. And they're fairly similar readings, so not too worried about that. We'll see what the front's doing. And we had to strip the radiator and the fans out to get to the front block, so we've got to go down lower to get to those. So number 4. Not as stiff. Very similar, carbon fouled, smells of petrol. Gap's okay at 0.8. And we're not working on number 4, of course, we're working on number 2 cylinder. I think this is the worst of them so far. Cylinder number 2, about 148 psi. Let's fill in the blanks on this one. That's about as low as you'd want that to be, so let's see what we get out of number 4. Yep, smelling of petrol. black with carbon, gaps to about 0.8. Screw this in, sometimes it can be a bit tricky. Anyone's ever tried to thread a spark plug in and you can't hold on to the actual thing itself to turn it, and of course the hose is in the way. It is worth remembering, of course, that you can't tighten these up really well. Plus this is a very cold engine, plus this is a very cheap Chinese import compression tester. Right, let's see what value we get out of this one. Number 4. And that's about 160 psi out of cylinder number 4. So it's fair to say all the cylinders are low, but number 4 is the lowest by miles. But not one of them is below the minimum, so there can't be too much seriously wrong. Combination of head gasket, valves need lapping back in, etc. Shouldn't think it'll be anything more than that. What if I keep mixing up 2 and 4? It's number 2 that we've got the lowest reading on at 148 psi. So you're facing forward here. So this is as if you're sitting on the bike looking forwards. You've got cylinders 1, 3, 4, 2, so you've got 160, 168, 160 and 148 psi, so number 2 is the lowest by miles. And of course these two are on the front bank, these two on the rear bank, so I could just take the cylinder head off the front to inspect it, and it's possible that we've got some grit or rubbish on the intake or exhaust valves, carbon, that kind of thing, and lapping the valves in would sort that out and it would bring those values back up. It could be that's where we've possibly got a cylinder head gasket leak, which may be causing the moisture, water getting into the crankcase, as evidenced by the milky oil. So the only way to find out is to take the cylinder head off and inspect it and do some remedial work on it. But I don't just want to do that on the front block, because all the values are quite low, so at the very least I'd want to take the cylinder head off the front and the back. But what I have in mind to do is to get the engine out, strip it down and give it a full clean and inspection. I wouldn't call it a rebuild as such, because I'm probably not going to do huge amounts of work to it. Just going to take a few readings and have a good look, see what's needed, but I suspect it's a top end issue, but there's absolutely no harm in a complete strip down and a thorough clean, because the old girl probably needs it. So it's this corner here, number 2. I nearly said number 4. So well, that's the compression test done. No unexpected results there, of course. Symptoms of this engine, milky oil, white smoke in the exhaust, all point to a blown head gasket and low compression in one or more of the cylinders. So I shall pull the engine apart and sort all that out. Before I do that, I'm going to take the rocker covers off the front and the rear and take a look at the tappets. I'm getting a bit of clattering noise, and I just want to verify that it's nothing more serious than a maladjusted valve. I'm not going to set them, I'm just going to check them before I lose that information before the engine is stripped out. But until then, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and I will see you next time.